started. My name is Patty Ruland. I'm with Engage by Cell. And I think many of you are familiar with Engage by Cell. We are a mobile technology company providing services for all types of organizations. But today we're focusing on how mobile technology is transforming city attractions and amenities. Gone are the days of printing multiple brochures and so forth. And we have a couple of our clients who are willing to share their stories. And that's the best part about my job, is being able to hear from our clients how they've utilized the platform, the results they've achieved, how it's benefited them, and so forth. I'm joined today by Melissa Vandermel. She's from the town of Danville, which is in Northern California, as well as Clint Self and Jenna Beasley from downtown Houston. Why don't you say hi, guys?
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Anna, you want to go ahead and advance the slide? Thanks. So we hear a lot of organizations are facing the same types of challenges. We've indicated some of them on the screen, right? We're in the day and age where people want real-time information and they want it quickly and easily, and that kind of equates to getting it digitally. There's been issues with having printed materials and them being, out of date 10 minutes after they've been printed and so forth. And it's also quite costly to continue printing brochures, etc. Looking for ways to create new experiences, something that's different, interesting, unique. So that's, again, one of the main things that we hear when people come to us. Both of the organizations that are with us today started off the same thing. They had a similar need that they needed to get met. And then they've kind of expanded from there. And then finally, how do you communicate this information to your visitors, to your residents, to local businesses, and so forth? So those are the top challenges we hear about. We're able to address those, thankfully. But let's hear a little more. Why don't you go ahead and advance the slide, Anna? So why cities are adopting mobile tours, maps, digital technology. It's a great way, everybody's trying to go local and support local businesses, but if your community doesn't know about these businesses, how are they to support them? So, highlighting those, focusing, little sections and blurbs about the businesses are a great way to boost that local business. Oftentimes the area is very large. How do you get from one point to the next? What's the quickest, easiest path? What can you see along that route? What is there? And I know Houston will talk about it, their murals and so forth. Showcasing more attractions that, again, maybe people aren't necessarily familiar with. Having it easily accessible, being able to make changes and updates on the fly. And then finally, capturing data. There's not really, if you print rack cards or brochures and things like that, it's great for your visitor, but what are you getting out of that? You're not able to track your visitors through a paper brochure. You're not being able to see the things that interest them by handing out a paper brochure. So capturing that data has become more and more important to organizations we work with. Next slide, Anna. So I'm going to kind of be quiet for a second and turn this over to my team from downtown Houston, Jenna and Clint. Why don't you talk? Oh, first off, let me say, if you'd like to see what downtown Houston has done, take out your cell phones, open your camera or your QR code reader, scan the little QR code on the page you see there, and that'll take you to their mobile web app. You'll be able to tap around, see their maps, things that they offer, and so forth. So Jenna, Clint, which of you would like to start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the challenges you were facing, why you came to us, maybe options that you had thought about before going mobile, and so forth.
Yeah. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to kind of showcase what we have done with Engage by Cell in downtown Houston. Our introduction to Engage by Cell was from a conference that our director attended, and we were mainly looking for a way to create a mobile walking tour of our public art. We've had over 50 murals put on sides of buildings all across downtown Houston in the last few years, and as many as were being added, our maps were becoming outdated. And so we were challenged with finding a digital version of that. And so, yeah, we booked a call with Engage by Cell, and they more than delivered in terms of creating and helping us put up this walking tour and displaying our public art digitally. Yeah, and then there was just so many other things that I quickly realized we were going to be able to do from a marketing aspect. And yeah, and we've already done a lot of things. So I'm excited to share those today.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I love,
and
go ahead, Clint. Sorry about
no,
that.
no. I was just going to say to cascade, a little, to echo a little bit what Jenna said. It was kind of a cascade effect where we saw this need to create a digital mural map. But then after meeting with Anna and Patty, we realized that like there's a lot of things that Engage Myself can do, and Jenna and my eyes just kind of like lit up, like, oh, we can do all these things. And it's not going to cost us any extra to put these things out. I mean, obviously there is an upfront cost to that, but it was really helpful to be able to put things out and be able to activate them super quickly. Jenna can attest to the fact there's a lot of things we think of like on a Thursday for something that needs to go out on the weekend. And
Yeah.
what's really great about this service is, we don't have to, stop and have meetings about it. We can literally just throw it up there and it's good to go immediately. And so it's a shout out to Engage Myself for, being able to help us at a last minute notice as well for that.
And for those who aren't familiar with how our service works, we're a web app, so it's not a native app that needs to be downloaded by a visitor or a resident. Um, and subsequently, changes can be made on the fly. So, like Clint was saying, if all of a sudden something's going on this weekend and it's Tuesday or Wednesday and you want to get it up there, you can quickly add it. You don't have to go through an update process. It's automatically available there for your visitors.
Yeah, we
I
opt
kn-
that's some of our key messages is like it's a no download app because asking people to double click to install these days is a lot. But asking them to scan a QR code and bam, it's right there. And then you guys have that nifty option to add it to your home screen almost as if it were an app. And so that's really been cool.
and I know you guys started with the mural arts, um, and I know you had shared with me like they were going up quicker than you could print the brochures, which I think is great. I love public art. I think it's such a great investment for a community. It kind of brings people together. But again, if you don't know that there's these three new murals that have been painted, how do you get that that exposure?
Well, and not even just like finding them on a map. When you're dealing with a printed version, you quickly lose real estate in terms of description of the artwork, the artist's name, all of these things. And we don't just want a map with like 50 QR codes. And so this is really great because you can see what the mural looks like. You can click on it. You have a description of it. It links straight to that artist's like Instagram or website. And we even have the address on there. And so that's really been helpful in terms of having people explore all of the murals out there.
Excellent. And you guys, Anna, if you want to go to the next slide, you guys used us for something. I mean, I love this. I think it's pretty special. Um, if everybody has their phone with them still, go ahead and scan this QR code that's on the bottom of the screen. It'll bring you to something that looks like this or like you see on the picture. Um, you did some great stuff for the holidays, incorporated a lot of really, really interesting, fun, um, out of the box kind of thinking, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't you talk a little bit about what you did? And again, this isn't only applicable to the winter holidays, it could also include summer festivals or markets or you know, but this is just kind of an example of what you guys did. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so although our Engage by Cell journey started with us wanting to do walking mural tour, it really kicked off with our holiday season. And I think we had all of this stood up in about, Clint, you can correct me if I'm wrong, like 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. Like we had
Yeah,
maps.
if that.
Yeah. And Anna was great with helping us and guiding us there. But yeah, so we partner with our local destination making organization called Houston First for the holidays, and we do a big campaign called City Lights Downtown Holiday Magic. And we have all these like different villages around downtown. And so that also again involves a printed map, like bus stops, just a lot of this like granular detail stuff that from a consumer or outsider perspective can get really like overwhelming. And so we really wanted to get this launched by the holiday season. And so on there, we pretty much put all the villages on here with cool photography, descriptions, hours, what was going to be offered there. We were doing our own little holiday activation called Snow Glow on the Bayou. And so Anna helped us like create this really cool map where you can see on that slide. I showed you kind of like where the water screen was, the main viewing area. There was like boat tours. We had a cool photo op. That was one of my favorite things. You can like click on that photo op and it's like, you found a holiday photo op. And then it had like a picture of kind of the type of photography you could take there. Great for Instagram. And then we also were going to be hosting this Elf on the Shelf scavenger hunt, which, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Which
if everybody can see that, the photo op.
the scavenger hunt again, like instead of, in the past we've hosted scavenger hunts, and I think maybe we had like sheets of paper that people like go and pick up at a specific coffee shop or something like that. But again, everybody has their phone on them. It's so much easier to just utilize that. And I think I emailed Anna and was like, hey, so I know you guys can do a scavenger hunt, but like, what does that look like? And yeah, she was great. Clarifying that, and it's really cool because you can just like take your pictures in and upload from your camera roll into the scavenger hunt. And so that was great. We did like a big drawing. We could see everybody. I think we had like 140 participants in our scavenger hunt, which was amazing. And then yeah, we did like big SMS text campaigns around everything. You can segment out your lists so that, if they opted in for the holiday season, then we made sure they were receiving all of those communications about like what was going on. So it's good stuff. Clint, did you want to add anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, a big thing, and a lot of people around here know that I'm always trying to be very cost conscious of a lot of stuff we do. I deal with a lot of our printers, vendors, and like that. So I want to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck. And I think something that Jenna forgot to mention here is all of these things on this map would have been like a printed piece. We would have had a printed map, we would have had printed flyers, we would have had this. We didn't have to worry about any of that. And I think we still did a few printed things here and there. But for the most part, Engage by Sale took about 90% of the load here. And it was no additional cost to stand that up. And again, shout out to Anna for helping us get this out. And, she was always available to, quickly change something or help us get something going. Just because this was our first thing that we were using Engage by Sale for. But we couldn't have been more happy with it. And we got a lot of great feedback from this. And throughout all of our projects with Engage by Cell, we have yet to hear one negative thing about it.
And I
It's
think
been super helpful for everybody, and I think this was a good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we had like 3,000 people opt in during the holiday
Yeah.
season through Engage by Cell, which was cool.
Yeah, no, it was
See,
a really, really great hit. And this was kind of a precursor to a lot of our other events. Once we saw that we could do this, we started, we did something for the Houston Rodeo, where people could go and see, how to get to the light rail that we have downtown and take it to the rodeo, which is a few miles away. And again, that came with some cost savings because that would have been flyers, that would have been posters, that would have been, a lot of printed material. But we were able to meet people where they were at. We had QR codes around the city where people could scan and say, okay, you go this way to get to the rail. And this was all done through Engage by Cell. And we had the same thing for our art car parade, and then what else? Lunar New Year. We did a big celebration with that. It was a great hit. So yeah, this was the first of many applications of Engage by Self for that.
I love that. I love to hear about different ways that you're able to accomplish, presenting this information. Jenna, you had mentioned you knew how many people had, participated in the scavenger hunt. You know how many people click on the snow globe map, because that is all tracked. And you're not, like I mentioned earlier, if you just had a paper brochure, you would have no idea. You could have 5 people, you could have 50, you know what I mean? So this is giving you some, pretty solid numbers. Now, granted, not every single person has a phone. I'm sure there's couples or families that will be sharing the same device, but that gives you kind of an idea as to how many people are participating and what they're doing and so forth.
Yeah, and our CEO here is a big data nerd, and he loves any metric that we can provide, as do our 82 board members that we have. So it's been really great to be able to utilize the reports and pull all that traffic and those details for them, especially when we're reporting on impact and stuff throughout the community.
Yeah, and I just want to address something in the chat. That Anna had posted a link to the site with the scavenger hunt. Somebody had asked to see what that looks like. And then Jerry asks, how does text messaging work? Do users have to register, sign up, or whatever in order to send or receive text messages?
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead, Jenna, and talk about it since you do utilize text messaging?
Yeah, so we have a primary keyword, which ours is downtown, and I think other organizations probably have a different keyword. And so they can text downtown to 56512. And also we printed these great little like postcards. So like Clint was saying, we saved on cost printing stuff, but we do print these 4x6. And if you scan this QR code, it like populates the text for you on your phone. And then that opts in that way. And then, yeah, it's just kind of like any other texting service. You can segment your list. You can have secondary keywords. So downtown is our first, and then holidays was our second for that season. And so anybody that texted downtown holidays to 56512 went to a list that we had segmented and titled holidays, so that way we can track how many people were subscribing, and then we can send them out specific messages, and we have a master list obviously, and then we have like a residential list, so people can text downtown resident to 56512. That's going to put them on that list, and then we can communicate with them. We do resident bags biannually for all of our apartment complexes, and so we have a different color of these. The background's purple instead of blue for our residents. And then that will automatically pop up that downtown resident text for them. And then we did the scavenger hunt with a keyword. I think it was like downtown elf or something, because we were doing elf on the shelf scavenger hunt. And then we have a street closures one, which is really handy as well. People can text downtown detours to 56512 and get added to that list. And anytime there's a street closure or some type of something going on that's going to impact transportation, we send that out on the app as well.
Yeah, that's great that you could segment and send out messages based upon what people want information about. Maybe I don't want information, maybe I'm just a tourist. I don't want information about, road closures or residential opportunities or things like that. I could just opt into a specific list. And I don't know if it's clear enough or not on the example on the screen, but opting in to get the text message or become part of the list is even simpler than it was in the past. You don't even need to type in a phone number and a keyword. You can just scan a QR code and our system will automatically open up your text messaging platform, insert the number and the word, and you just have to press the send button and you're opted in. So it really simplifies the process. Oh yeah, there we go.
Very quickly. And then it's great too, because I forgot to mention you can create phrases like responses. So once people hit like downtown and hit send, then it's like, welcome to downtown Houston, explore all that we have to offer. Da, da. Or if, they're a resident, it's like, thanks for choosing downtown to be your home, so you get creative with all those little fun messages too.
Excellent. And I know you guys have some big stuff coming up next year.
Yeah, no
With
pressure. Just World
no
Cup.
pressure. With just the World Cup, So I mean, do you just see this growing and expanding, finding different new ways to utilize it? Um, I don't foresee you guys ever going back to the way things used to be. But I mean, have you been, and you mentioned it when you first talked with us, you guys all of a sudden your eyes lit up and you started realizing you could do all these different things. Do we still have that same like butterfly feeling where it's like, oh, can we do this? Or, let's try that and so forth.
For sure. I think there will be many a custom things coming down the pipeline for that. I think there will be fun utilizations in terms of, yeah, like scavenger hunts or I don't know. I think there's so many tools too that I'm not even completely familiar with that I'm excited to explore, especially around that. There's like selfie opportunities there. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and then from my perspective, one of the biggest things that I do with the organization is I work with like graphic design and stuff. So the ability to be able to custom design these maps, and so it's not just a standard Google map that's going out. Like it's actually a nice, well-developed, intentional map with certain graphic elements on there. Has been really great to be able to do that.
And it's branded with your aesthetic, right?
Mhm.
Which is the best part. You want to keep that consistent brand quality and so forth, and have it consistent with what's on your website and what's on the printed material you still do.
Well,
So
and I
it's
think
nice.
Gauge by Sell is really helpful too. If not everyone has a Clint on their team, Anna is like amazing at helping to build out like whatever vision you have too. So
Yeah, I mean, I one of the great things about working with this company is the people that are here. They all want to help. They all want to make, and Anna typed in, thanks, Jenna. We care about our clients. We often measure our success on the success of our clients. We want this to be phenomenal for you. So we do everything that we can to help make it as impactful, for you folks as we can. We are not just some software you buy off the shelf and we say, here you go. We have tons of training and support, and we're always available to answer questions or come up with creative new ideas. I mean, our platform has evolved over the years. We've added new features, bells and whistles. But the fun part and the really interesting part is the ideas that our clients come to us with, saying, do you think we could maybe do this, or can we do that? Is there a way that we can do XYZ? This might be exciting. So I love that. I love to hear what our clients are doing, how they're utilizing it. Love the elf on the self scavenger hunt. I mean, if I was in Houston, I would be doing it like every day. You'd see my entry 50 times. Um, so somebody asked, can you show how to add points and info onto the map? We can, Jerry, we can go over that. I'll have you talk with one of our folks and we can actually set up a demo for you to see the back end and how everything is included and uploaded. But it is, and like I said, Jenna nor Clint have any coding or IT experience. Um, and Anna has helped out, but I mean, you guys have done your fair share of adding content and pinpoints and map markers to the platform. User intuitive, pretty simple and easy to manage.
yeah, I would say so.
Sorry, my
Excellent.
mic was muted, but yes, I would agree as well. Yeah.
Well, I know we're happy to have you as part of the Engage by Self family, and I appreciate you guys showcasing what you're offering to your residents and your visitors. So, Anna, if you could advance the slide, I'd love to talk with Melissa. Hey, Melissa, thanks for hanging in there.
I'm taking notes about all the exciting things downtown Houston's doing too. So
Yeah, and I
excited to
have
be
to
here.
say, to Melissa's credit, she is a one-woman show. She doesn't have a team behind her. She's kind of doing this all on her own. Of course, we've offered assistance and guidance to help her along the way. But like I mentioned, Melissa is with the town of Danville. They are in the San Ramon Valley, Contra Costa County, Northern California-ish. And similarly, she came to us because she had a walking tour that she wanted to get set up. And why don't you tell us a little bit about how the process went for you, how you arrived at coming to Engage by Cell, and where we're at now.
Absolutely. So thanks so much for inviting me to be here. I actually inherited the relationship with Engage by Cell. Our Heritage Resource Commission group had been looking for a way to digitize our historic walking tour so that they could provide a more real-time opportunity for people to walk through our town and see the beautiful historic buildings and um, learn about the history there. And economic development decided, hey, we really like that, and we'd like to hop on that as well. So we added additional opportunities for people to walk and dine and shop and see what else was in downtown as well. So we were really looking to, as Houston was, we were really looking to move away from a digital, or I'm sorry, from a printed map that would have to be reprinted when anything changed, to something digital where we could log in, make the update, and our residents would have real-time updates.
Yeah, and for everybody watching, if again you'd like to scan this QR code, you'll be able to see what Melissa has created so far. I think it's really great. Like I had mentioned earlier, we try to support our local businesses, but if we don't know who they are, what they offer, this is a really great way to get people familiar with, their new favorite coffee shop or boutique or what have you. Have you noticed any feedback or have gotten anything about what your local businesses think about having this option?
Yeah, so our local businesses, particularly downtown, are really hungry for more foot traffic. That is sort of the request that we continue to get from them. And we are a much slower rollout process, like Patty had said. One-man show here, working with our community outreach team to tell all of our residents how easy it can be to find your new favorite spot for dinner or coffee or whatnot. So I think it's in the next slide actually, but
Yeah, Anna, can we advance
um,
the slide, please?
thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so at the top of that slide, we've got our postcards that are going to be available at all of our town facilities. So the community center, our town meeting hall, the senior center, all those great places where residents will be able to scan the QR code and get taken directly to the app. And then the historic flyer was created specifically for a 100th anniversary Veterans Memorial Building event, to get people to walk through downtown and see what the town used to look like. So we did see some people really enjoy that. We had probably around 500 people that day downtown enjoying the event and festivities, and taking part in that historic walking tour, which it was great for it to be self-guided. People could walk around at their leisure. And then the last piece there is actually already went out to resident homes. So we are seeing a slow increase in our number of users, in getting people to really, take a look around downtown and see what they'd like to explore more.
Excellent. I kind of used to live in the area of Danville. I think it's great. I think every town should have these types of services. Again, we had a little chat before the webinar, and working for an organization that provides these types of services, every time I go someplace, I'm always thinking, oh, they could really have a map here, or they should have, a walking tour or something like that. So, I mean, and I think the biggest thing I want to convey is obviously downtown Houston is a little bit bigger than Danville. But the technology works for any size organization. Whether you're a one-woman show like Melissa, spreading information through the town of Danville, or you're a big city area like downtown Houston, the technology works the same. It provides easy access to content that people want to see, ways for people to learn more, and so forth. I know, Clint, or actually, Anna, can you go to the next slide? And Clint, I think you might have a little bit to say about this. We talked earlier, the different ways it's applicable, right? So you can do pre-planning. You can opt into a text message list and get information about upcoming events. I'm sure you guys are going to do some campaigns about upcoming things. I think you did some about the rodeo to let people know that was going on. And then again, with the holiday program and so forth.
Yeah. So,
And
oh, sorry, go. I thought you were finished. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, for the rodeo, it really helped us out. One thing that we really wanted to push out, because I don't know if any of you have been to the Houston rodeo, but it's more than just a single rodeo. It's an entire month-long event. Think of like a state fair on steroids, basically, for an entire month. So it's not a downtown specific thing, but one of the things that we really wanted to push out, because parking around the rodeo is ridiculous. So one of the things we really wanted to push out is like, hey, we have an abundance of parking downtown. Come park your car here, walk a short few blocks over, and ride our light rail down to the rodeo. And so we really wanted to push that forward. So what we did is, it was a joint effort. There were some printing costs in this as well, but we had QR codes that we had on stickers that were or decals all throughout downtown on the sidewalks. And so people, and we had them rodeo themed. They'd have like cowboy, yep, Jenna's showing a picture now. They had cowboy boots and things like that on there. And there was a QR code that people could scan, and this would take them straight to what we called the rodeo roundup. So they can go there, they can see, exactly, yeah. So they could see exactly where the light rail stops were. We had, we called them pop-up performances. So think of like street buskers and things like that. So we really wanted a way to promote that. But what I was getting at the point here is that it wasn't just a downtown thing. So we really wanted to kind of ingrain everybody to, plan your visit before you come. So check that out, look it up, open it up, and see what we've got going on, and see how downtown kind of plays into the rodeo. And there are rodeo related events that are happening downtown. We had a rodeo run, a 5K run that they had, as well as a parade as well. And like I said, it's a month-long event. So, but all that to say, Engage by Cell really helped us out here, because we were able to activate this in what, Jenna, less than a week, I think. Yeah, we rushed to get it out, but honestly, I don't think anybody could tell. It looked like a fully baked product, and it looked really well. So we were really happy with it, and again, that was just kind of a precursor to the things that we can use it for. So, Patty, I know you mentioned the World Cup obviously coming. We haven't even had those conversations yet, but they're probably coming soon on how we're going to activate Engage by Cell for this, because we could absolutely see, obviously, our light rail system being used, parking, things like that. And so, yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, Jenna, the World Cup is going to be it's at NRG, right? So same location as the rodeo. So a lot of it's going to be a lot of, cut and paste with that. That we'll be able to say, hey, come downtown, avoid all the parking around the stadium, take a leisurely ride on the light rail downtown, down to the World Cup. So yeah, it was a nice test for that. We could see how a lot of that worked. And I think it's kind of become something that people are going to expect out of us now. And we're excited for it. We're excited to be able to provide that service as well.
And we have
Excellent.
two big things coming up that we're going to utilize it for. One is our downtown Houston marketplace. And so this is a traveling market that will pop up at different places around downtown a couple times a month. And so that will probably have its own button with the dates of when it will be, the location of where it will be, and then hopefully we can keep it up to date per market with the list of vendors, because everybody loves to know what to expect. And then secondly is our marketplace, and then I was just thinking of something else. I forgot it. But anyways, sorry. I know. Anyways, the marketplace for sure is coming up.
Cool. And we've kind of talked about on-site usage, obviously having information about stops on the walking tour or having information about the murals and the artists and so forth. We've talked about and touched upon that it's not a native app, so there's no downloads required, etc. And Clint, I'm going to pass it back to you just for a second as far as marketing opportunities. So you guys are considering, and some of our other clients have done this with sponsorship
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
app.
Yeah, so as an organization as a whole, we've really started shifting our focus a lot more towards what we can sponsor. We have a private arm of our organization that can handle a lot of these things. And so Jenna and I kind of looked at this like, oh, I mean, Engage by Cell could easily be sponsored, you know, and that could be the inclusion of a sponsor's logo on top of the map, or as a footer or something like that, or a certain section that's sponsored by, you know, one of our big partners. And so, you know, with all that considered, it could easily offset the cost of everything and then some. And also just bring, you know, a lot more money to the organization so that we can support, you know, better events and things like that as well. So we really do see this as a driver for funds for the organization as well. And that's not an area we've gotten into yet, but we have started exploring. Like I said, our organization actually just hired, you know, somebody to actually handle a lot of our sponsorship stuff. So that's coming down the pipe for that for sure. But you know, we're pretty excited that you know we as a team you know can bring that you know level of income to the organization as well.
So not only are you able to get sponsorships and then market, you know, marketing to your users with those sponsors, as well as regular overall marketing opportunities, special offers, surveys, things like that. Again,
Absolutely.
the data is valuable, right?
Yeah.
We love to know who we're serving, what their interests are, and that way we can better address their needs going forward.
Yeah. And what's great is it's, you know, operational cost is zero for us. So, you know, adding this on there, you know, it literally costs us, you know, an hour or two of our time. And, you know, then we've got this, you know, level, you know, that's a stream of income coming to the organization. And so, and, you know, Patty, to your point, you know, as scalable as Engage by Cell is, you know, we could easily see any organization of any size, you know, easily putting this stuff on there. So yeah, you know, it's been really great to have that as an opportunity for sure. We're excited to explore it.
I do remember what I was
Excellent.
gonna say, and I can't believe I
Yeah.
forgot it because we've been talking about it all week. We have a huge Main Street promenade that we're about to start construction on. So we're literally going to be like tearing up our Main Street that runs through downtown, and creating this really awesome pedestrian promenade. So we're going to be using Engage by Cell to communicate those different construction milestones to the folks on Main Street. So we'll opt in all of our small businesses and property managers, segment them on a list, and communicate to them that way with all that stuff. So, okay, that's it.
Excellent. So on the screen are best practices and tips. I'm not one for reading slides to people, but you know, start small. Melissa started, like I said, she's a one-woman dynamo, a little powerhouse here. She started with the walking tour. She's added things as she's gone along, and we're here to help. So, you know, ask for help. I don't think any of our clients ever started with a fully, I don't want to say fully functioning site, but they started with something small, maybe one or two things, and then built and built and built. And it's so easy to build upon. And you know, once you see all the information you can gather and the feedback that you get, It's really kind of almost fun to do. Um, as Clinton had mentioned, involve local partners and sponsors. You know, if they're willing to pay for a portion of your service or help defer the cost, that's great. Very easy to promote, although they are still doing some printing. They're not having to do the amount of printing that they've done in the past with maps and so forth. It's more like printing, you know, smaller cards with just QR codes on it and so forth, or the postcards that go into neighborhood bags and things like that, or just small rack cards for, you know, hotel lobbies and so forth. We kind of talked about the value of getting somebody to opt in to text messaging. Once they've opted in, you can communicate all types of information for them. If it's information that they're not necessarily interested in, you can segment them into a list that, you know, is important to them. And I think you guys both have it. We encourage everybody to save the little icon to their home screen. It'll look just like an app on their phone, but without the hassle of taking up storage, needing to be updated, going through Google Play or the App Store and so forth. And then finally, use that data you collect. Ask, you know, put out feedback surveys, see what's working, see what people love. I mean, I would guarantee if you guys sent out a survey asking, you know, feedback on the Elf on a Shelf scavenger hunt, you would have probably gotten some amazing feedback. I hate to keep harping on that, but I think that's such the cutest idea. So Anna has graciously put in some links for the individual pages we saw. If you didn't get a chance to scan the QR codes. But what I'd like to do right now is open it up and maybe have some folks ask some questions in the chat window. And whether it's directed or a question about Engage by Cell's services or technology or questions for downtown Houston or Danville. I see here Kitty wants a demo already. That's always exciting. Any questions from the group? Do you think this is, or maybe I'll just ask a general question and you guys can all answer in the chat, do you see this type of technology working for your organization? Is this something that people in your area would come to expect, the ease of use and the availability of information? And Michelle said possibly. Great. Kitty says yes. Excellent. Well, we're pretty close to time. If we don't have any final questions, I just want to do a quick wrap up. Anna, could you advance the slide? On behalf of myself, Anna behind the scenes, and Engage by Cell, I want to personally thank Jenna, Clint, and Melissa for being here to share their stories. Like I said, I love to hear what our clients do, and I think nothing is more valuable than real life stories and being able to share them with our potential clients and so forth. Any final words, you guys? Again, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate our attendees showing up. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to say thank you for the invitation, and both times that the panelists been together, I've walked away with something new that I wanted to add to our Engage by Cell. So when Patty talks about starting small and scaling up, we are the prime example, very small town, but looking at more inventive ways to be able to engage with more people. And Engage by Cell has definitely been that solution for us. And like I said, inspired every time I talk to someone or attend a webinar for something new that I can add to our app. So thank you.
I would just
And
also like to
Melissa,
add
I'm
to,
learning the same thing, so I agree with you. And I've been with the company forever.
I would also just like to add to, you know, kind of piggybacking off what Melissa said, you know, start small with this, but also don't be intimidated by what this looks like. When we first had our meeting with Anna, we were expecting this to be, a 1 to 2 month build out. And I hate to reveal her secrets, but it took her less than 2 weeks, it felt like. And she was there with us for every step of the way to get her up and going. And so, yeah, it was a really great process. Engage Plus has been there every step of the way. And you guys have also been really great about, if we have suggestions on how to improve the service, y'all have been very, open to those suggestions and implemented quite a bit of them. So, it's been really refreshing to work with you guys. Even, if we've encountered issues or things like that, we get a response immediately. So we don't feel like we're on an island here. We feel like we've definitely, have support along the way. And so that's been really great. So if that could be any encouragement to people that might see this as like, pretty daunting to get this up and going, it's really not at all. So at least for the consumer, it's not. Engage by Cell takes a lot of that. And it's been really great to have y'all on board, though.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for participating. We appreciate it. Thank you, folks, for registering and attending. We will be sending out a recorded version, so if you got a little distraction or something, you could watch it again just for fun. You can share it with other members in your organization. Our team will probably reach out to you folks to follow up to see if you have any questions. I know Kitty definitely wants a demo, so I'll be reaching out to her to set up time to chat with her. Feel free to reach out to us if we don't get to you quick enough. We're here to help. And with that said, I hope everybody has a great afternoon and enjoys the rest of their day. And thank you for coming.